Hello, everyone. Welcome to this introductory radcast on the topic of the Hungerless Games. And this will be the first of a series. And I want to welcome Michael Gallo to the conversation, who we refer to simply as Gallo, since we got a lot of Michaels on the team. So welcome, Gallo. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jamin.
Awesome. Really excited to have this conversation with you, Michael. So I first want to show up. So to introduce the Hungerless Games, I just want to share this flyer with everyone. So the Hungerless Games, and this shows kind of the basic dynamics, which I'll zoom in there. So we have on the left side, CCC, Certified Compassionate Companies. This is the new standard for a compassionate economy. And as long as there is any hunger at all in the world, 100% of the profits from CCC companies, 100% of the net profits, after all expenses and everything have been paid, instead of those dividends going to the shareholders, which in general are the wealthiest people in the world, instead, the profits go to the poorest, but not in the form of cash, but in the form of food to end hunger. And that will mainly be done through such institutions as the community cafes, which are large communal dining operations where we feed people food that's been raised regeneratively. Think holistic land management, raised in a way that heals Mother Earth rather than hurts Mother Earth. And at the same time builds community, connects people with each other. And that ending of hunger through community cafes will stoke a global movement because as news travels about community cafes and the impacts they're having, can you imagine Haiti with just dotted with community cafes, so that we turn food into a basic human right? No more hunger in Haiti. Why not? And then why not do that everywhere in the world? Well, one of the reasons why not is because it costs a lot of money. And that's why we're developing the standard of CCC. CCC, by siphoning profits off to ending hunger, we need a budget of about $50 billion per year to end hunger permanently. And that 50 billion, while it may sound like a lot of money, that's about 1% of global profits, rough ballpark order of magnitude. So as soon as CCC penetrates even 1% of the global economy, we will have all the money that we need to end world hunger permanently. So that's the Hungerless Games. But then the cool thing here is, once we get this flywheel going and we break through that 1%, penetration into the global economy, and we've ended world hunger, then once we've ended hunger and we've got it sustainably ended, then surplus profits above and beyond what's needed to maintain the end of hunger can be directed to other things, whether it's geoshading, cleaning up the oceans, holistic land management, building communal housing, you name it. There's so many good things that we can do with that. And because CCC will have ended world hunger, CCC will be the hero will be a hero to humanity, and humanity will love to buy CCC. Now, CCC, in addition to directing all profits to ending hunger and to benevolent causes, necessary causes generally, it also mandates that if you want to be certified compassionate, then all of the operations of the company, from sourcing to compensation to, you name it, 100% of the operations of the company must be socially transformational and ecologically regenerative. So that gives you the high level of what CCC is. And that's the Hungerless Game. So it starts this one virtuous cycle, and that will be a major driver towards transforming the global economy by this new standard. Just like much of the food industry has been transformed by certified organic, much of all industries, the entire global economy, will be transformed by certified compassionate.
Excellent. Thanks for explaining that.
Yeah.
I think it's what what I have to share about that, this project you're describing is a really great example of, I think kind of what the essence of this project is about, of how to change the world, and Radish is about. We're really in a position in humanity's story right now where we have a lot of apparent problems to solve, but at the same time we have all the resources to solve them, and it's really just a matter of reorganizing ourselves and activating our collective intelligence and activating certain systems in place to just reroute resources to the problems and flow with it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, I'm inspired to share with you a couple images here from a presentation that I and Professor Guy McPherson gave to the Sierra Club back at the end of April this year. So here's Triple C with the three pillars that I was talking about: all profits ending hunger, socially transformational, and ecologically regenerative. And then all profits going to end hunger. I mentioned community cafes. This is the very first community cafe that we piloted in Southern California, out in the Mojave Desert, in a relatively poor community called Rosamond, California. And here's my brother, Eric Miller. And he, along with Crystalyn Rodriguez, who is from Rosamond, graduated from Rosamond High School, the two of them spearheaded a whole to pilot the first community cafe in Rosamond. These are volunteers from the local high school who pitched in, other veteran volunteers like our brother Darian in the back there. And we just threw down and did it. We partnered with local restaurants and suppliers and got some of the equipment we needed from the local military base, and we just made it happen. And people loved it. So anyway, community cafes.
What did you borrow from the military base? I'm curious.
Oh, just like, the structure to hold up the whole, the tents and everything and the signage.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that. I have a memory of being on a military base once many years ago at one of the, I forget what they call them, their kitchen cafes. There's a name for them. And after each meal, I saw that there were these giant garbage cans full of food, perfectly fine. Like they would just take all the extra food and throw it away. And I remember seeing that, just like, and thinking, like, that this was one kitchen on an army base that probably had a dozen of these kitchens, and that of course there's hundreds of these kitchens all around the world, or hundreds of these bases all around the world.
Yeah.
I just imagined the amount of food that the military was wasting, and I just, it's simple things. Like, it's just imagine that we could resource that and reroute those things to solve some of these solutions.
Yeah. And to reroute that's part of the solution. That's part of the solution to supply community cafes and so there's the Hungerless Games image that we were looking at, a little bit clearer than me holding up a flyer printed on hemp paper. And speaking of, certified compassionate company, well, what company would want to donate all their profits to ending hunger? Well, here's the first one, Sato Hemp, led by my brother Takuya Sato, the Hemperor of Japan. They've stepped up and are donating 100% of their, they're still paying their people's salaries and benefits and all that good stuff. It's just that the profits, instead of going to some rich person's bank account. And, this is an example of this new level of thinking that Radish and radical collective intelligence generally are pioneering. And, we talk about all these different solutions that we're creating and using collective intelligence. We think of collective intelligence sort of like, if you have, the more batteries you put in series, the brighter the light bulb will be. Well, we're putting our minds and hearts in series, right? Here's where, the Radish team met up with the Sato Hemp team in Japan. We had kind of a big retreat there. And so here we are literally putting our minds together like a series of batteries, to get boom. And then you see the bright lights above us. This is at the base of Mount Fuji.
Nice.
And, and that's the essence of collective intelligence, putting our minds together now in recorded video conferences And then, of course, we'll mix in other technologies like mixed reality. You can imagine just like flying around, flying into different conversations. You see people in 3D. And so anyway, it just goes on and on. But all with a view to creating a whole world, wholeness for people and wholeness for the planet. And right at the top of physical needs for humans is food, right? Now, ultimately, we want to address all these needs, including like the need for community. The community cafe addresses all of that, well, both of those needs and many more holistically. So
Fantastic.
anyway, we absolutely have the capability to end hunger, and the Hungerless Games, Community Cafe, Triple C, this is all a part of it. So just wanted to share some of those nice images with you.
Thank you, Jamin. Very inspiring. Yeah. Amazing, all the things that you're up to.
That we're up to. Because yeah. We started off. Well, I started off with like focusing on hunger. How do we end hunger? How do we end hunger? And then that got me into the cannabis industry because I realized, whoa, I've got an opportunity to build
food and cannabis go together.
Yeah, exactly. But then I committed all the profits that I would ever make from the cannabis industry to ending world hunger. And I wanted to kind of help set the example and lead the way. But that ultimately led towards a broader realization that by ending prohibition, building a cannabis industry, ending hunger, wait a second, we're solving multiple world problems simultaneously and holistically. And that's what led us ultimately to the radical collective intelligence and the three-phase motor that we talk about in that series.
And another problem solution that's in there with these cafes too is the problem solution of nutrition, really, because nutrition is really another of the fundamental areas, I think, of kind of accelerating our progress towards a more holistic world. The more healthy we are as individuals, the better we're going to operate in our lives, and the better we're going to collaborate with each other.
Totally.
Weaving in education around nutrition and proper food is also significant.
Yeah, and not just educating ourselves about what we should put in our mouths, but where that food comes from. Does it come from regenerative agriculture, or does it come from so-called modern agriculture with chemicals and GMO and monoculture and all those terrible things that are destroying Mother Earth? So yeah, looking at it holistically is absolutely key. And but we decided to start with the strategy of the Hungerless Games because it speaks to this basic human need. Speaking of empathy and compassion, having empathy and compassion for people who are starving, right? And also, once we address these basic human needs, I think humanity will be in a much better place. Though, first of all, humanity will have gobs of gratitude for that. Wow, there really are these institutions and organizations that care that much about me, and that now me and my family get to eat. Wow, what's this all about? Well, there's this revolution of compassion going on, right? And you can be a part of it. Well, shoot, I'm in, right? And so once we unite humanity that way, a united humanity that's not fighting over each other for scraps or loaves of bread or whatever, but we're breaking bread together, we're eating together and saying, okay, great. Now that our bellies are full, what's next? Well, we need to cool the planet. Okay, well, let's roll up our sleeves and cool the planet, right? So, but we're starting with that, which is really close to our hearts, which is food.
I see what you mean. Is if the cultivation of compassion in this way is like an input into the global community that not only has an effect in itself, but also then there's an output of more gratitude because this is happening. And
totally.
It just feeds on itself. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Totally. Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. Makes me a little hungry for some good food.
All right. Well, let's do it. It's lunchtime. So let's do that. And while we're eating, let's meditate on all the rest of humanity and Mother Earth and how we all really need to come together so that this, instead of being one of our last meals, this is really one of the first meals of the new golden age.
Right. Community, compassion, communion.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Beautiful. Well, this is just the beginning of a whole series on the Hungerless Games because we're going to be rolling this out globally. Volunteers needed. Big thinkers needed. Everyone is needed. We need to make this happen. So no matter where you are on planet Earth, whether you're in a rich country or a poor country, please join the Hungerless Games. Join howtochangetheworld.org. Join the revolution of compassion. Gaio and I and the rest of our brothers and sisters, we await you. So welcome, and we'll see you here. Thanks, Gaio, and thanks, everyone. See you next time.